Okay, we will call this December 4th, 2024 Platting Board meeting to order. The time is 6:31. May I please have roll?
Brandy Pennington.
Present.
Sarah Catherine Bryan.
Present.
Patrick Jones.
Present.
Ashley Ploy.
Present.
Kyle Merka.
Present.
Brenda Butler.
Present.
Kevin Cross. You have a quorum. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we'd like to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Are there any disclosures for tonight? Thank you. Could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Oh, boy.
Moved by Mr. Cross, seconded by Ms. Butler. Are there any items to pull for discussion? Any objections to approving the consent agenda? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. We will now move on to the public hearing portion of tonight. I'll begin by reading the procedures in which the public can speak to the Platting Board. After the staff presentation is completed on the Platting Board hearing items, the chair will ask for public testimony. Persons who wish to testify will follow the time limits established in the Commission Rules of Procedure. Petitioners, including all his or her representatives, 10 minutes. Part of this time may be reserved for rebuttal. Representatives of groups, community councils, PTAs, etc., 5 minutes. Individuals, 3 minutes. When your testimony is complete, you may be asked questions by the board. You may only testify once on any issue unless questioned by the board. Any party of interest wishing to appeal shall first file with the planning director within 7 days of the board's decision made on the record a written notice of intent to appeal in accordance with AMC 21-03050A4A. Following approval of the written findings of fact and decision, any party of interest may, within 20 days, file an appeal by filing a notice of appeal and paying the appeal fee and deposit in accordance with Section 21-03050. The notice of appeal must be filed with the planning director on a form prescribed by the municipality. If the appellant is not the applicant, the appellant's notice of appeal shall include proof of service on the applicant. May we have staff's presentation on the first case this evening, case S12805.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is a request to subdivide 9 existing lots into one tract and vacation of a cul-de-sac portion of B Street right-of-way, dedicated per plat 7360, and vacation of a 20-foot wide utility easement. The request is being made for the business owners to retain a portion of the right-of-way for their commercial property, and the property contains 2 large commercial buildings and self-storage units. The proposed Tract 1 will continue to meet minimum requirements for a lot in the I-1 district. The existing right-of-way for B Street and West 53rd Avenue meets the minimum width requirements for a local street at 60 feet of dedicated right-of-way. In the matter of the 2 vacations, the first vacation request is a vacation of that cul-de-sac portion of B Street, and then a vacation of a 20-foot wide utility easement as shown on plat 7360. So staff finds condition 1 is met. Traffic Engineering Department states in their comments they have no objection to the vacation with the proposed note of limited access to C Street. Chugach Electric and other utilities have stated no objection to the vacation, and the easement is not needed as the lots are platted into one tract. Staff finds condition 2 has been met. B Street, West 53rd Avenue, they meet the 60-foot right-of-way width for a local road per the official streets and highways plan. The petitioner has demonstrated the right-of-way and easement is in excess of municipal need. Staff finds conditions 3 and 4 have been met, does not lie on the half-mile or quarter-mile grid. Staff finds condition 5 has been met. It will not have an impact on traffic circulation. The site will remain to be accessible from Western National Airport Road to the north and B Street, West 53rd Avenue to the east. There's adequate access to serve this parcel and adjacent subdivisions. Staff finds condition 6 has been met. The vacation will not result in realignment of any existing right-of-way and does not impact traffic circulations. Municipal reviewing agencies have expressed no objection to the request to vacate a portion of the B Street right-of-way and the 20-foot in width wide utility easement. The utility companies will have the opportunity to review the proposed plat and request easements as necessary. So therefore, staff believes the right-of-way and easement is in excess of municipal need and recommends approval of the vacation subject to the conditions found on page 6 and 7. I can answer any questions if you want. And the petitioner is here as well tonight.
Thank you. Are there any questions of the staff? Ms. Butler.
I have a question for staff. I was just kind of curious because this is a little bit new with the relinquishment of ownership of the water main through like AWU. Is the assembly action or the assembly hearing going to be scheduled after the platting action is decided, or is that something that is already in progress?
Through the chair, Ms. Butler, I believe that's going to be something that's going to be, that if you note that's a resolve with AWU, it may or may not be necessary, but that's something that the petitioner will have to work out and go through before the plat is finally recorded. I do believe the petitioner or the surveyor may know a little bit more about the process, and I believe he can speak to it.
Are there any additional questions for staff? No? Okay, thank you. We'll have the, can we please have his presentation? Hi there. If you'd please state your name.
Good evening. I'm Jonathan Lang, L-A-N-G, professional land surveyor, president of Lang & Associates Incorporated, and I'm presenting tonight on behalf of the petitioners, International Self-Storage, LLC. Thank you, Mr. Odell, for your thorough staff report and for your presentation. We agree with the department recommendations without exception. I was going to stop there, but you had some questions, so I'll go a little longer. I'd like to keep these as short as possible. That relinquishment process is new. The ordinance, I read through that after talking with AWW yesterday morning, actually. The ordinance says disposal of consequential assets. So it may be that this was a main that served all of these lots, and now that it's going to be one tract, it'll be a service line. And so that's why they'll be relinquishing it. So whether or not this actually needs to go to the assembly is something that we need to sort out. This is a relatively new ordinance, so that's still up in the air what's going to happen with that exactly. And that's all that I have. I'll answer any questions that the board has. And thank you for your time. And I'd like to reserve the remainder of my time for rebuttal if necessary.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the petitioner? Ms. Butler.
I just, it was the same as last platting action from the last meeting that we had. It's turning up that like natural gas lines aren't really considered with these first platting action applications. So looks like OnStar is saying that there is a natural gas line in that utility easement that is being requested to be vacated. That's obviously being worked on, and you're in communications with their agreement and all that.
As Mr. Odell stated, the utilities will have an opportunity to review this and ask for any easements that they need.
Are there any additional questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's any other additional public testimony, please come forward. Okay, at this time, we're going to close the public hearing for this. Oh, sorry, do you have any rebuttal? Okay, thank you. We'll close the public hearing at this time. We are going to move now to the motions for this case. Please note, board, that there are 3 that we will need to vote on. Can I get a motion to approve the first item? Moved by Ms. Butler, seconded by Ms. Pennington. Ms. Butler, can you please speak to your motion?
I move in case S12805 to approve the vacation of a portion of the B Street right-of-way per Plat 7360, subject to the conditions shown on page 6 of the staff report. Plan on approving or voting yes in this case. AWU's been dealt with, the utilities have been dealt with, all of the reviewing agencies had no comment. There's no comment from community council, no negative public comments, and staff did a very thorough job in making sure that all of the analysis sections like 1 through 6 were meeting code, and that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Ms. Pennington, would you like to speak to your motion?
I will be supporting case S12805. Nothing further to say.
Thank you. If we can move to vote. That motion has passed. Can I get a motion to approve the second item? Moved by Ms. Bryan, seconded by Mr. Cross. Ms. Bryan, can you please state your motion?
Thank you. I move to approve the vacation of the 20-foot wide utility easement located on the northern section of Lot 2, as shown on Plat 73-60, subject to the condition shown on page 6 of the staff report.
Do you have anything you would like to add?
My findings of fact are limited and really based on the staff analysis, specifically subsection 1. It appears that an easement is not needed as the lots are platted into one tract. Therefore, I don't see why a 20-foot wide utility easement is necessary. So those are my comments.
Thank you. Mr. Cross, would you like to speak to your second?
Yeah, I'll be supporting it. The easement is a surplus of current and future needs. It does not, and the current easement does not adequately serve the traffic circulation and will not result in realignment of any existing right-of-way. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional findings? We can move to vote, please. This motion has passed. Can I get a motion to approve the final item? Moved by Mr. Cross, seconded by Ms. Ploy. Mr. Cross, can you please state your motion?
I move to approve the plat for 24 months, subject to the following conditions. Conditions 1, 2, 3, 3A, 3B, 3C, and 4, 4A, and 4B.
Thank you. Do you have any additional findings you'd like to add?
Just nothing that hasn't been stated in the previous 2 approvals. Additionally, we have a note here to resolve with AWW the following, which is to locate the manhole number 47, which came up in some questions. I did want to additionally add that regarding assembly approval, that typically happens on the tail end once all departments have chimed in and AWW has given their final say. But I believe the Anchorage assembly action, just as a point of information, is primarily has to deal with the rights, and that was passed so that the municipality of Anchorage and AWW was not losing water rights in the negotiation, the rebuilding of the Eklutna Dam. So that primarily is where that ordinance is, and I believe its scope was meant to address those issues and not intended to encroach on some of these smaller AWW water rights with mains. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ploy, would you like to speak to your second?
I move case S-12-805 to approve the plat for 24 months, subject to the conditions shown on page 6 and 7 of the staff report. I think it's all been pretty straightforward, and we should approve it.
Thank you. Are there any additional findings? Could we please move to a vote? This motion has passed. Can we please move to staff presentation of case S-12788?
Thank you. So, Mr. Chair, so this is a request to subdivide 5 parcels of land into 6 tracts with a variance from AMC 2108-030 F6A, which is cul-de-sacs, to exceed 600 feet in length for a cul-de-sac measuring approximately 700 feet, and also vacation of rights-of-way, utility easement, and a sewer easement. So this request is being made to align the property boundaries with the current potential future function, as well as incorporating the vacated portions of undeveloped rights-of-way into the tracts that make up the Chugash Electric North Campus. The petitioner is requesting vacation and replace of the easements and replacing them with new easements that better fit the current site, existing utilities, and future needs. The lots are owned by Chugash Electric Association, and the site was the location of the former municipal light and power campus. The 6 proposed lots will meet the minimum lot size and width required by the B3 and I2 zoning districts. The owner is petitioning for a variance to the cul-de-sac length for East 2nd Avenue, which is not constructed. In the matter of the vacation request, the petitioner is requesting vacation of a north-south segment of Carluck Street, an L-shaped segment of East 2nd Avenue, and a 30-foot wide north-south utility easement, as well as a north-south section of sewer easement within proposed Tract 5. The standards for the vacation, staff finds that condition 1 has been met. None of the utility agencies object to the vacations, and the area served by utilities have a new easement that covers all the infrastructure in the corridor. Staff finds condition 2 has been met. The rights-of-way and easements are not part of the official streets and highways plan. Carluck and East 2nd Avenue are interior to the campus, and the vacated area is to function as it currently does of paved area for parking and driving. Staff finds conditions 3 and 4 have been met. It's not on the half-mile or quarter-mile grid. Staff finds condition 5 has been met. It will not have an impact on traffic circulation for vacation, and the existing street network already provides adequate access to all existing lots in the area. Staff finds condition 6 has been met. Traffic has stated no objection to the vacations of the portions of East 2nd Avenue and Carluck Streets. The portions of right-of-way are internal to the campus and not readily accessible to the traveling public. Therefore, staff believes that the right-of-way, sewer, and utility easements are in excess of municipal need and recommends approval of the vacation. And for the variance is for the cul-de-sacs to not exceed 600 feet, and we're looking at East 2nd Avenue there. Staff found that condition 1 met. There are special circumstances and conditions affecting this property. There's challenging, unique environmental and topographic conditions, very steep, which would limit the development of that East 2nd Avenue that's already halfway kind of vacated. The section of right-of-way is currently not constructed and contains contaminated soils, which limits vacation further west. The topography is steep, and that would require extensive engineering to meet required grades. So due to those conditions, the applicant has provided a letter of concurrence for a turnaround easement that is signed by the municipal traffic engineer, municipal engineer, and private development manager. Staff found condition 2 has been met. It's not going to adversely affect public welfare or negatively affect properties. Adequate vehicle circulation appears to be provided for the surrounding lots. Staff finds condition 3 has been met. The subdivision of lots shown on the preliminary plat will provide legal and physical access to all lots within the proposed subdivision. The intent is to ensure cul-de-sacs are not excessively long in order to facilitate safe and effective access to the proposed lots. The proposed Chugash Electric North Campus subdivision, there's a typo there, cul-de-sac exceeds this length by 100 feet, or approximately 11%. but that appears to be the minimum additional length required to provide access in the absence of a viable street connection to Post Road. And as I stated, they have the turnaround easement letter there, so they will be providing a turnaround. Staff finds condition 4 has been met. Unique hardship would result for the petitioner. It's not developed. It would require additional engineering and retaining walls. The variance request for the existing length appears to be the minimum, and the nearby contaminant site adjacent to Lot 34B makes it impractical to vacate the entire right-of-way. They looked into that. The petitioner is providing a turnaround easement, as I stated, and once again, reviewing agencies had no comment or objection. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the variance, subject to the conditions, as well as the plat. And if you look at the plat, it is quite a mess of different lots and right-of-way and easements. They're basically going to clean that up and make the 6 tracks, make it conform to the zoning districts, and kind of vacate some of those right-of-ways that are right next to buildings that probably should have been vacated many years ago. I'm happy to answer any questions, and the petitioner is here as well.
Thank you. Do we have any questions of staff? No questions for staff. Petitioner, can you please come forward and state your name?
Good evening. My name is Laquita Chmielowski. I am with Dell, and I'm here tonight representing Chugach Electric for the Chugach Electric North Campus subdivision. As staff mentioned, the plat is for 5 lots that are outlined in red, and the vacation of Carluck and 2nd Avenue, which is highlighted in blue on the map. The zoning along 3rd Avenue is B3, and the zoning along 1st Avenue is I2, and this plat will not result in any split zoning. So as staff mentioned, we're looking at subdividing the parcel along 3rd into 2 properties, and then adjusting those lot lines to encompass the right-of-way vacation and to kind of match how the site is used and may be used in the future along 1st Avenue. It includes the right-of-way vacation and cleaning up some utility easements. We are also asking for a variance from the subdivision cul-de-sac length of 600 feet. We did look originally at vacating all of 2nd Avenue right-of-way and working with the adjacent property owners. As we started that process, what we found is that there is an active contaminated site within the right-of-way just to the north of St. Francis Shelter. So that precludes us from vacating the right-of-way any further west than what we're currently showing. And as staff mentioned, we did work with the municipality to have a turnaround easement. So if 2nd Avenue were to ever be improved in the future, there would be the ability to have a turnaround at the end of the cul-de-sac. And then, of course, this is the preliminary plat that you have a copy of in your staff packet. And you can see up along 1st Avenue, those lot line adjustments, and then the subdivision of the lot along 3rd Avenue into tracks 5 and 6. And then it's this utility easement and intergovernmental permit that we're cleaning up as one of the easements, and then the sewer easement over here, there is a sewer main within that easement, and we're coordinating with AWW on the vacation of that easement. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for the petitioner tonight? Mr. Cross.
Yeah, through the chair. With your highlighter, I looked at the DEC website. I see 2 spots that have been cleaned. I see 2 active contamination sites on track 3. Could you go back to your main map and show the one that you're referring to on the west?
Oh, sure.
If I can just get an idea and make sure we're all talking about the same
Yeah,
one.
so approximately right here, there's monitoring wells within the right-of-way, and that's where the active contaminated site is.
Yeah, the DEC shows 2 on track 3. They show them, they have them mapped just I guess, be south of the building and then immediately, but maybe that's not exactly where it is, but that's where the monitoring is. So
Yeah.
they're stating there's 2 cleanup sites. Is it just one with 2 different case numbers?
There may be additional. The only one that I'm aware of is the one that's in the right-of-way, because that came up as part of that vacation discussion.
Okay, and so in order to get this, obviously, all your DEC testing has to be up to date and everything's with the,
Correct.
make sure we're not truant on turning in our reporting. So, all right, excellent,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Are there any additional questions?
I had a very simple question. With the L-shaped temporary turnaround easement, any reason that it's not just suggested to be a bulb?
Yeah, actually, that's a great question, and one of the reasons we met with the municipal reviewers and directors to talk about it, because one of the challenges is that Second Avenue has about a 15-foot elevation change from south to north. There's also existing buildings with loading areas, and so having that L-shaped turnaround makes it more viable from an engineering perspective and to allow the loading to stay in place.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Thank you. Are there any additional comments for the public testimony? Would you like to save any of your time for rebuttal? Okay. We're now going to close the public hearing portion. This case will have 3 items that we will need to, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I missed one comment. This case will have 3 items that we will need to look at tonight as well. May I have a motion to approve the first item? Brenda, if you do, go ahead and speak to your question there.
I just was reading over the community council meeting minutes, and a lot of the community members were showing concerns with traffic and right turns on red and speed limits and stuff. So I assume that you're working with traffic and stuff to make sure that the community feels good about the platting action and development.
Yeah, I actually think that was not necessarily associated with our presentation, because that we were presenting as part of an overall community council, and I believe, if I remember correctly, that had to do with some improvements that were being proposed on 3rd Avenue.
Right, it's just still in the same area, so I just wanted to kind of like make sure that that was, it's obviously a big concern with that specific area, so I just make sure that that's part of the plan.
Yeah, and I guess just to clarify, we're not proposing to change anything as it currently exists today as far as driveway locations, traffic in and out of the site, and we're not aware of any issues with the current traffic configuration and site access.
Thank you. We'll now close the public hearing. Can I get a motion to approve the first item? Moved by Mr. Merca, seconded by Ms. Pennington. Mr. Merca, can you please state your motion?
I move in case S12788 to approve a variance from AMC 21.08.030F.6.A, cul-de-sacs to exceed 600 feet in length for a cul-de-sac measuring approximately 700 feet from the center line of Ingress Street to the end of East 2nd Avenue, subject to the conditions shown on page 8 of the staff report. After reviewing this case, I think that the petitioner has demonstrated that that these roads are really surplus to any of our future public needs, and obviously have been this way for a very long time, and we're just setting the course right for the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Pennington, would you like to speak to your second?
I appreciate the time and effort that you put into your package, and I'm sorry I cannot pronounce your last name. Forgive me, Ms. Laquita. I will be supporting this. It is a long time in coming that this section of Fairview and Carluck receive its appropriate attention and redevelopment, so thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional findings? Ms. Butler?
I am going to support this motion as well, especially considering the variance request. The petitioner has shown that this variance request from AMC 2108-030F6A in regards to cul-de-sacs meets all of the standards as outlined in the staff packet. 1, 2, 3, 4 especially, and that the department recommends approval. Definitely going to support this motion.
Thank you. Mr. Cross?
Yeah, it's also, I do plan to support it. I want to note that Second Avenue is pretty much a dead-end street that services primarily just Chuyak Electric North Campus subdivision, with only one other property being Grub State Auction on 34B having access to the entry point. This alteration will not impact any of the surrounding properties, seeing as none of the other lots access directly onto this public right-of-way. So this is an improvement that primarily benefits one sole user. So I will be voting for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional findings? Okay, if we can move to vote. This motion has passed. Can I get a motion to approve the next item? Moved by Mr. Cross, seconded by Mr. Merca. Mr. Cross, can you please state your motion?
I move to approve the request for vacation on a north-south segment of Carluck Street right-of-way, L-shaped segment of East 2nd Avenue right-of-way, and a 30-foot wide north-south utility easement dedicated by Plat 84-374, and north-south section of sewer easement within proposed Tract 5, subject to conditions 1.
Thank you. Would you like to add any findings?
Yeah, just referring back to pages 6 and 7 of the staff packet, stating that this is in excess of all future need. And additionally, it does not, the municipality will not have to entertain any vacation of a right-of-way on the official streets and highways plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Merca, would you like to speak to your second?
I'll be supporting the motion, but I think Mr. Cross summed that up perfectly.
Thank you. Are there any additional findings to add? Can we please move to vote? This motion has passed. Can I please get a motion to approve the final item for this case? Moved by Ms. Butler, seconded by Ms. Ploy. Ms. Butler, can you please state your motion?
I move in case S12788 to approve the plat for 24 months, subject to the conditions shown on page 9 of the staff report.
Thank you. Would you like to add any findings?
No, as previously stated with the other motions and approvals, staff did an amazing job ensuring compliance with Anchorage ordinances. The petitioner has an amazing presentation, very detailed, and it's definitely an improvement to the area. I'll be supporting this motion.
Thank you. Ms. Ploy, would you like to speak to your second?
Yeah, I move in case S12788 to approve the plat for 24 months, subject to the conditions shown on page 9 of the staff report. I think everyone said it really well. Let's get it cleaned up and get it going.
Thank you. Are there any additional findings to add?
I'd like to add that the conditions outlined on page 9 are things that, given the level of detail in the presentation, I have full confidence that the petitioner will be able to resolve these very few issues within 24 months. Won't risk having to come back here in 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional findings? May we please move to vote? Mr. Cross.
Thank you. I also note that I plan to support this. There is a storm drain easement and a drainage easement within that, but it is important to note that although it does look like some drain alteration needs to happen, Condition 2A does state the property owner and utilities shall not raise, lower, or regrade the property in a manner that will alter drainage patterns from those shown on the improved grading drainage plan. So those will be dealt with within development services. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional comments? May we move to vote? This motion has passed. That concludes the two cases that we have tonight. Are there any additional comments from the board member? Hearing none, can we have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
I second.
Meeting is adjourned.